morning. This is Dr. Susan, and I welcome you to Play and Learn. Today, I was introduced, or not today, but this last week, I was introduced this cute little story, and it's actually a movie that Walt Disney produced, and it's called Ivan, the one and only Ivan, Draw Me a Story. So we're going to look at the story, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it, and then I'll show you how we're going to create a story. So let's take a look at the book and go from there. All right? So here we go. This is story time. There's a cool picture. And Disney, the one and only Ivan, Draw Me a Story. And it's by Beth Ferry and Gonzalo Kenny. That's his last name. He's the illustrator. Ivan was a gorilla. The only gorilla at the Big Top Mall. The mall was a strange place to find a silverback gorilla, but sometimes the most magnificent things are found in unexpected places. The mall was Ivan's home, and he was happy there, mainly because it was filled with his friends. There was Thelma and Murray and Henrietta, Frankie, and Bob. As you can see, Thelma is a parrot, Murphy is a rabbit, Henrietta is a red rooster, it looks like, and Frankie's a seal, and Bob is a dog, a little puppy. And then there was Ruby. She is a cute elephant. Ruby was the newest member of the Big Top, and she had a lot to learn. Those are sneakers, Ivor informed her. Humans think sneakers make them run fast, like a cheetah. And that's a turtleneck. Why anyone would want to look like a turtle, I'll never know. And that green stuff, dry leaves, but humans don't eat them. They prefer the pink clouds. He's talking about cotton candy. What's that? Ruby asked, pointing to a pile of stickers. Crayons, said Ivan. They help me draw pink clouds and blue lakes and green forests. Ivan is crazy about his crayons, Bob piped up, and his drawings. Bob was right. Ivan's domain was filled with drawings. Drawings of beetles and bananas, drawings of beautiful places, drawings of old friends, and promises made. This last picture in the corner says, by Julia, I love you, Stella. And it's Stella the elephant. Draw me, Bob demanded. You never draw me. I am completely drawable and adorable. I don't always work like that, Ivan said. Art has to come from the heart. Well, I sleep on your heart every night. Doesn't that count for something? It counts for my matted fur, Ivan replied. I guess when she sleeps on his chest, his fur gets flattened. Can I draw something? Asked Ruby. Ruby asked. Ivan handed her a crayon. Ruby looked closely into Ivan's eyes. Then she drew it. She studied her own eyes. Then she drew that. Look, she said, our eyes are the same. And they were both round and dark and beautiful. Ruby finished drawing Ivan, then rummaged through the pile. Where's the color of me? She asked. There were no crayons that matched Ruby's wrinkled skin. Ivan reached for a small box. Inside was a silver crayon his human friend Julia had given him. Silver for silverback, she had said. Ivan had been saving it for something important. That's not the color of me, Ruby said. I'm so bright and shiny and special. Ivan laughed. That's exactly what you are, Ruby, on the inside. Ruby hesitantly took the crayon. Go ahead, Ivan said. Sometimes art isn't just what you see. Sometimes it's what you feel. Ruby colored herself silver. Ivan was right. She did look exactly how Ivan made her feel. She added some more silver to the drawing. Silver for silverback, she said. Then she handed him the crayon. Will you draw me a story? Ruby asked. Ivan wasn't very good at telling stories in words. Maybe he'd be better at telling one in pictures. He thought for a long time. Then he drew line after line after line, and finally 2 lines next to each other. Before we turn the page, I want you to look up at the picture. It's really important that we don't have to draw anything that looks exactly like it. We can draw what we think it looks like, or what we have as far as our ability to draw. But if we make something that looks similar to it, it's absolutely perfect. It doesn't have to look like a photograph or something of that nature. Let's go to the next page. Whoa, said Bob. Is that modern art? Looks like math. Ivan arranged the pages on the floor. 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's math. That's not a story, Bob said. That's math. See, we said that. It is a story. It's a story of us, Ivan told Ruby. The one and only Ivan, the one and only Ruby, always together. That's very clever, isn't it? Bob too? Ruby asked. Bob too, Ivan agreed. And Thelma and Murphy and Frankie and Henrietta, she asked. That makes 7, Bob said. They're good at math too, aren't they? There's the pictures. It makes 1, Ruby corrected. 1 family. Look at those pictures. They are very cool. Ruby was the newest member of the Big Top, and she had learned a lot to learn, but she already knew the most important thing, that her friends were her family. The end. Look how cool that is. That is cool. Silverback gorilla and friends. That is so cool. All right. That is terrific. Okay. The reason I pointed out during the story about the pictures, a lot of times we don't draw because we can't make it look exactly like what we see. But if you draw something that looks similar to it, does it matter? It matters to the person that drew it, because the drawings and pictures and things that you do are about who you are. As Ivan said, art comes from your heart. And if we remember that, no matter what we do, even if it has flaws or it isn't exactly the right size or the right shape or the right angle, it doesn't matter. It comes from our heart, and that's the most important part, is that it comes from that. So what I thought we would do this morning is we would draw us a story. And again, Ivan wasn't good at words. He was good at pictures. He draws pictures. And you can actually imagine, once you do a picture, give it to someone and say, tell me what this story is, and see what they came up with. You might be very surprised of what they see from what you drew without any words, just simply the pictures. The one thing I wanted to share with you before we went on about the story, and I'm going to read this from the very last page of the book, and this is the page I'm going to read you. It says, did you know the character of Ivan was based on a true story? Ivan was a lowland gorilla born in 1962 in Central Africa. He was saved from poachers in the wild and spent the next 27 years of his life in a concrete enclosure at a shopping mall in Tacoma, Washington. In 1995, the animal rights group Paws successfully raised $30,000 to purchase Ivan and relocate him to the Atlanta Zoo, where he spent the rest of his life in peace. His life remains as an example of the hope a community can inspire and change it, and the change it can create. You got to read that last sentence again. His life remains an example of the hope a community can inspire and the change it can create. So a community got together and raised $30,000 to move Ivan from that little place in the mall to the Atlanta Zoo. That is most amazing. So we all have ideas and we all are inspired by lots of different things. But the story is about this wonderful gorilla, Ivan. So Ivan taught us a lesson in knowing that we really don't have to write something down. If we like to do drawing, no matter whether it's, as I said before, whether it's stick figures or it's a completed physical form picture, it doesn't matter. If it's a dog like my grandson draws, and he draws like an oval shape, and then he puts a round shape, and he puts down two legs like that, and that is a dog. In fact, he did a picture for on my daughter's anniversary card, and he drew, it looked like a dog, but it had a beak. And I asked him, I said, well, what kind of a character is that? He said, it's a chicken dog. Okay, it's a chicken dog. And it does. It looked like a dog, but it had a beak. It was a chicken beak. Oh, I take that back. It's not chicken. It's a bird. Well, it's close. Bird. So it's a bird dog. That's what he called it. And I thought, well, that's kind of creative, and that's very different. So this is what he created. So we're going to start out by doing what illustrators that create, I don't know if you've read the comic books in a newspaper, but they create story blocks. And I'm going to show you how to make one of those for yourself so you actually see the story unfold all on one piece of paper. And it's a little bit easier to see the story do it that way. So I have a big piece of white paper like this. Okay, I'm going to turn it this way for just a few minutes while I make the blocks, and then I'll turn it this way so you can see the actual pictures that we're going to create. Okay, so I know I need to do marks 6 1/4 inch all the way across, because that's how wide the paper is, and it gives me 3 blocks. There's 1, here's 2, and there's 3. So I'm going to go down this line that I made the little dots on. So we go like this, move the ruler, so I have kind of straight lines. I'm going to go over top of the dots and do it on this side. To there. And so now we have 3 blocks this way, and we want to figure out how many we can go. This is 12. 3, 6, 9. So we go 3 1/4. So I'm going to go down 3 1/4 and make some lines this way. So there's 3 1/4 here, and 3 1/4 here, and 3 1/4 here. And you can just draw these lines yourself if you don't want to have to measure. It's not crucial that you do that. It's only if you want it to have the blocks the same size. That's all up to you as to whatever you'd like to do. Okay, and then I go down 1 more. And so let's go across this way. So I'm just going to follow the dots again. But this is like a story. It's like a storyboard. And it's just a little easier to see your blocks. Here. And I know it's kind of light, so it's probably hard for you to see. I think this is just going to be, let's see. Yeah, that's 3 1/4. Okay, there's one more, and one more. Okay, these are the ones at the bottom are a little bit skinny, but that's okay. This is where I'm actually making. Here we go. So we have 6. So I'm going to take this and cut off the little shorty blocks with my scissors. That. And then I'll do some darker lines so you can actually see the blocks that we made. Like that. So I'll take this one, put it over here. And I will take one of my black markers with my ruler again and just do this so you can see the lines. I use just a pencil to start with so that if my measurements were off too much, I could change them with the pencil. Okay, I'll go down to this one. And here. Then, like this. Then we have these little blocks. Now the next thing is what kind of a story do we want to tell? We already saw the story about Ivan. So what kind of a story would we want to create? So I'm going to do this. How about, so this would be block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9. And we would start here and go across. So how about if we create a story, maybe a game that Ivan and Ruby and their friends like to play. So what kind of a game would they play? I know. How many boys and girls ever play hopscotch? I used to play it a long time ago when I was, that's one of the things that we enjoyed playing was hopscotch. So let's play a game of hopscotch and how you create a game of hopscotch. So we're going to need, you need 2 people. So we'll do 2 people, and I guess I'll use a pen. I'll use this so it's easy for you guys to see. And I'm just going to do stick figures, okay? Okay, so we need 2 people. So here's 1 person and 1 person. Okay, you can see how great I do this. These are just stick people for right now. We'll make them a little more designed in just a few minutes. Okay, there's 2 people. It needs 2 people, and you need 2 stones, or you could use anything that you're able to toss. So we'll do 2 stones. So here's 2 stones. There's 1, and there's another one because they each need 1. And we'll call this one here. We'll put this is Sam, and this is Bob. So Sam and Bob are going to play hopscotch, and they're their stones. So here's Sam's, and here's Bob's. Okay? Now, in order to play hopscotch, they need chalk. So we'll give Bob a piece of chalk. So he has a piece of chalk here. There we go. And you have to draw a hopscotch. So the hopscotch looks like you have 1, 2, 3, no, 3. And then you come to this one, and it goes across like this. There's 2 that goes horizontal, and you have 3 that go vertical. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have 1 in the middle, 6. And then we have another one here, 7. And we have another 2 that go the other direction, 7. And you can do 2 or 3 more on that way, whichever you want to do. 2, and then 3. That's probably longer than it needs to be, but that's okay. We can have it any way we want, right? It's our story. Okay, so they made their hopscotch. So Bob came over here and he drew the hopscotch. So we'll put Bob here, and he drew the hopscotch. Okay, so that's done. So then you'd have to repeat the hopscotch here, and we move to the next set, And that is both of them together. I'm going to draw that. Like that. And here's the hopscotch down here. I'm going to shorten it by 1, like that. Okay, so we have 2. And then we have them here and here. These are not the most creative hopscotch pieces, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, and we'll do 2 here. Like that. And this is Bob, and this is Sam. And each one of them has a stone that goes right here on the first block. Like this. And there's Bob and Sam's. And Sam will pick up his, and he'll stand over here, and he'll see if he can stand here in this spot right there. So go like this. He stands right here, and then he picks up his stone, and he tries to throw it in the next block. So I guess we better put our numbers in. I forgot to do our numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 spaces. So Sam has picked it up, and he had to throw his rock to the next one. What I think I'll do, so I don't have to keep repeating this, is that I will find another pen that, here we go, that we can use for the stones. So this is Sam. Sam's got the purple pen, purple rock. So he throws it, and it lands here. That's his rock. And then he gets to hop on 1 foot now. That's why it's called hopscotch. You hop on the first one and then the second one. And then you hop to this one. And if somebody's stone is in the first, you have to jump over it, right? So then you go to the next one. And you hop here. And when you are, there's a stone here, like that. Say Sam threw his stone there because it was his turn to throw it there. Then when you land on this one, you have to have 1 foot here and 1 foot here. This is when you could put both feet on the ground. Then you have to go the rest of the way. And here's a 1 foot. And then here you can put 2 feet down. 1 foot, 1 foot, and then you're off the thing, off the hopscotch board. And the game proceeds all the way across. So as we get down to here, as we know the guys are continuing to throw their stones, and they have to land inside the numbers according to how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sequence, okay? So they've got all the way down to here, and they get to the end. And both of them end up with their stones here. They each take turns. And your idea is to get all the way to the end, and your stone lands there, and then you hop over your stone. You can't hop on a place where there's a stone. So you always have to skip over. So if you were here and there's a stone here, you had to jump to 2. Say there's a stone here, and you can't land on 3, then you jump to 4 and 5. And it's the one that's the 3 across, so you can put 2 feet down on that one. That's kind of like a resting place, right? So the game goes all the way to the end. And they both end up in the same square at the same time. So they have a tie game. And then they can go and do the game again. So that's how they were playing the game of hopscotch. So let's say they're tired of playing that game. They decide they wanted to play another kind of a game. So what other kind of a game could they play that we could actually draw? Let me think. What other kind of game could you play? Or maybe they didn't want to play another game. Maybe they wanted to ride bikes. That would be kind of fun. So let's see if we can create a bike. I'm not sure how we'll do that, but we'll sure give it a whirl. Okay, so let's see. We have to have 2 wheels like that. And there. And it goes across like that. And there's pedals here, and one on the other side. And there's a crossbar, like that. And then we have our seat up here that they sit on, and here are our handlebars. This is not a great picture, but it'll give you an idea. Okay? And then here's the wheels and the pedals, and here's our handlebars that they hold on to. I think I've got them going the wrong way, but that's okay. This is my bike, right? Can be whatever I choose. So we have, and then we have to have another bike. Let's put another bike in this square. Let's say this is Sam's, and we'll put Sam here. So his feet are down here, one feet's down there, and there's his head, and his arms are on the handlebars. Okay. There's a smile. I got a smile in there anyway. So there's his bicycle that he's riding. And where should they ride to? What do you think? Maybe the park? How about they ride to the park? Let's go ahead and make another block that we get both of them in. And so here's the wheels. Make them a little closer together. And pedals here. And there's the fenders. Go over that part. And there's fender on this part. And then there's the seat that's here. And the handlebars come up here. This way I'll get the handlebars going the right direction. So it doesn't look like they're going backwards. Okay. And we'll put one of them here. His legs down on the pedals. His hands on the handlebars. Okay. So there's his bicycle. Like I said, we don't have to be great artists. This is, for me, this is not the greatest picture in the whole wide world, but it works, right? Okay, so here's the bicycle, and the pedals are here, and here's the handlebars going this way, and there's his hands, and there's the seat, and the wheels here, and the wheels here. Looks like he's walking. He's walking his bike. Anyway. Okay, there we go. So let's say they've driven down the street, and maybe now it's time they want to do something else. So they went over here to the park. So we'll put some trees. Here's a couple trees. Like that. And another one over here. But this is just, the pictures don't have to be exact, you know, anything like that. And there's the park. And while they're at the park, so here's the two guys. They're off their bicycles now. So there we go. So they're off their bicycles. And what do you think they might want to do now that they're at the park? So now they're at the park, so now maybe what they'd like to do is ride on the swings. Swings are great at the park. They're lots of fun. So we need a swing set. So we'll put a swing set here. That like two capital A's put together. And we have the swings here. And here's another one. Okay, and now we'll put the guys on the swing set. But this is just a way that you can, oops, we got to make longer legs for him, that they can play that they're on the swings. Okay? So they're at the park and they're playing on the swings. And when they get to the next place, they're thinking, oh my goodness, what time is it? Because I promised Mom I'd be home by 3 o'clock. So let's go see what time it is. So they find the clock that's in the park. It's a big clock like this. And it has the clock time. And there's 12. So it's at 3 o'clock now. So they have to head home. So and maybe just before they decide to leave the park. Let's go over and just see if we can feed the ducks. So maybe this is the duck pond, and we have some ducks in here. So let's see how well we can create a duck. Paddling water, feathers. There's our little duck in the duck pond. And maybe they took a few minutes and they played with the ducks. All right, and then they get all the way back with their bicycles, and they get back to their houses. So here's their, and this is their house, or one of their houses. Let's see. Should we say that they live next door to each other? I think that might be a nice idea. Then they can play with each other whenever they choose. And this is their front lawn. And here's the other house. Like that. So they got home in time, just like they had promised their moms that they'd be home by 3. Okay? So this is Bob's house, and this is Sam's house right here. And they've gotten home just at the time they had promised their parents. So we'll say, put the clock up here and say, 3 o'clock. And there's the 3. There's the 12. And they got home by 3 o'clock like they're supposed to. So this is just a quick way of showing you how you do a storyboard. You decide on your characters and where you want to go. And so Sam and Bob started out and they played a game of hopscotch. Then they decided they would like to take a trip to the park. So that's what they did. And at the park, they played under the trees for a while and then decided to swing and feed the ducks. And then it was time to go home. Now, can you imagine if you just put this like this and gave it to someone and say, well, can you see what the story is? Can you see what the 2 characters did for that afternoon? So we call it Bob and Sam's Adventure. So they started out here and they ended up back home. Yet, you can see just from the storyboard, it's very cryptic. But like I said, don't have to be a great artist. And that's not one of the things that I am, as you can see from my picture. But it gives you an idea, just like Ivan. He says, draw me a story, because he was much better at pictures than he was at words, by telling a story. And that's one of the things. And I want to pull their picture thing here, like this. This is the cover that was on the book. So I think you can see that. But there's all the things that they did that Ruby and Ivan did. And there's Bob the dog. And it says, will you draw me a story? And this is exactly what Ivan did, is he drew a story. And what the cool part about this is, it was actually about a gorilla that really existed. It wasn't just a fantasy or a made-up character. But you can take characters and things that you know, and you can make stories about them, about maybe adventures that they go on and things they try and do, or accomplishments they decide that they want to try and get accomplished in what they end up doing. So there's that part. So it's really easy and it's fun to be able to create your own stories. So like I said, this is just a little sample of how you can do a storyboard. And then if you feel like putting words in there, you can do that too. If you're good at telling stories and doing, telling stories through words instead of through pictures. So, and I'm sure if I took my time, it'd be a lot better than this particular picture, but it's okay. It at least just shows you ways in which you can create stories. And sometimes drawing pictures leads to words, that you can create the kind of events that Bob and Sam had on their adventure, to playing a game, to riding bikes, swinging, feeding ducks, and ending up back home again, and accomplishing what they had promised their moms and dads. They'd be home by 3 o'clock. So that's their Saturday's adventure. So that's one way you can make stories. And you can use just more than pens. You can use, if you like drawing, right now is a really fun time. If you have chalk and your parents don't mind if you chalk on the sidewalk, if you have sidewalks that go up to your house, or the sidewalks that go in front of your house, or in your backyard if you have a patio. Doing chalk drawings is lots and lots of fun. And you can just do and be creative as you want on the with the chalk. And chalk's a lot of fun. And then you can maybe make a hopscotch and play hopscotch. That's a fun game too. Plus it gives you exercise on hopping. If you're not so good at hopping, you'd like to get better. That's one way to do it in a fun way. All right? So do like Ivan. Think about doing things that maybe Ivan did and draw a story. And see how creative and wonderful places and things that you can create just by drawing pictures. And you don't have to be a great artist. You just have to have fun with it. And just do the creative things you enjoy doing. All right? So thank you very much for joining me this morning. And absolutely knowing that everybody, no matter whether you know someone or don't, they're part of your family, which we call the human family. And that family is one that's always there for us. So I'm glad you joined me, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. So take care, and if you want to get the book by Disney, that's available. I know you can get that on Amazon, and I believe the movie is out too, but I'm not quite sure where you'd find that. You have to ask your mom and dad. Maybe they'll be able to help you do that. But thanks again very much. Talk to you soon. Bye.